Are limiting beliefs keeping you back? I recently checked out a great video by Jack Canfield, and I wanted to just share a few points real quickly that I gleaned from that could apply to your practice. The first step, if you might have limiting beliefs, is to be aware that you have them. He takes people through this practice where they oftentimes can trace back these limiting beliefs to have started when they were at age like 2 to 8, sometimes as old as 11 years old. You might for some reason think that you're not smart, you're not attractive, you're not athletic, whatever it may be. You can go through this belief exercise. Ask yourself, what do you want to create, but you feel like you can't? And when you think about that, it might actually cause you some agitation. Like Jack Canfield was saying that when he would do this, his hand would actually start to shake. People get tense, they get nervous, whatever it may be. What do you envision, but you feel like you can't do? Now think about that nervous sensation you might have, and when's maybe the first time you started feeling that? And he gave an example. This lady he was talking to, at about the age of 5, her dad mentioned something about not having enough money for the whole family and maybe some of the kids would starve. He was just saying that in passing, but it really impacted her. And she realized it was keeping her back from her goals. This thought that maybe she's going to starve if she doesn't do everything perfectly. So she wasn't doing what she needed to do because she was more just operating in fear. The second step, once you figure out what those limiting beliefs are, is to find out what belief would empower you. So you have this limiting belief that you're not smart, for instance, or with your law practice that you can never really achieve what you envision. Like, if example, you might have heard the saying, money is the root of all evil, and that's what's holding you back from going to that next level. He said you could flip it by saying money is the root of all philanthropy. So money could be used for some good things. And just to clarify, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. That's a quote from the Bible. It's not money that's the root of all evil. Everything starts, he says, with you making a decision. You give yourself a deadline, and then you basically keep your seat in the saddle to get it done. Do whatever it takes to do it. So if you say your law practice is at $1 million a year and you need to take it, you really want to take it to $2 to $3 million a year, then you need to give yourself a deadline. By 18 months from now, I want to be at $2.5 million per year. And then once you kind of figure out what you need to do to make that happen, you stay focused and you do whatever it takes. So just as a recap, you got step 1, you be aware that there is a limiting belief. Step 2, come up with an opposite kind of affirmation or belief that would help you overcome that. And then step 3 is you make a decision. That's where everything starts. And then step 4 is you commit time to it. So you commit the time, and then you do the work. Maybe you don't really know exactly what it's going to take to get your law practice to where you want it to be. He gave an example. He wrote this book on success principles, and he didn't really write it in order. He just started writing down what he knew. He just did it. He put the time in, and then he went back later and figured out the order that it should be in and kind of reworked things. And then make sure you don't compare yourself. This is a huge thing. Let's say you see the person across town has a similar law practice to you, and they're so far ahead of you, and it can really be stifling to feel like it's just, this goal is just not possible for you to do. But instead of comparing yourself, you should actually be inspired by them. You might find that their dedication to excellence or whatever it may be in them that you like, maybe that's because it's in you, it's resonating in you. So you want to model that person. So don't feel like you need to compare, but model some of the stuff that they do and be inspired by them. And then look at what resources are available to you. That's a huge thing. So maybe it's joining a mastermind group. You've probably heard this before, that you're oftentimes the average of your 5 closest friends. I remember I had a good friend, and he was pretty well off compared to where I was at the time. And just being around him helped me to think differently. And so I started taking different actions, just spending more time with this friend of mine, made me question some of the stuff I was doing and reprioritizing, and really helping me to get to the next level. And I know for you too, if you can be intentional, joining a mastermind group, spending more time with that person that's a successful entrepreneur that you really look up to, whatever it may be. I know oftentimes attorneys, they just know they need to do more marketing. It's a matter of committing the time and the money to do that. Of course, we offer marketing services, or if you have a marketing company that you're already happy with, maybe you need to dedicate more funds to increase your budget for that. Whatever it may be, just look at what's available to you and do it. Lastly, what's often said is that, it takes like 10,000 hours to be an expert, which a lot of times bears to be somewhat true, but you can always speed that process up by learning from someone who's a master. They can actually shave off years or months. It's not a sprint, it's more like a triathlon. There's a lot that might need to happen, but just go for it. Hopefully this is helpful to you. Be sure to comment down below if you have any questions. Thanks so much for checking this out.